In 2025, Argentina made headlines when President Javier Milei's administration declassified over 1,850 documents related to Nazi fugitives who found refuge in the country after World War II. But perhaps even more shocking was the discovery of 83 boxes of Nazi propaganda materials hidden in the basement of Argentina's Supreme Court building for over 80 years. These revelations provide unprecedented confirmation of what researchers like those featured in our previous episode, Hitler in South America, have long suspected. Argentina served as a safe haven for the highest ranking Nazi war criminals, and the evidence suggests this may have included Adolf Hitler himself.
This is Cryptic Accounts. By paranoid people, for paranoid people. Cryptic Accounts.
Welcome to Cryptic Accounts, a podcast by paranoid people for paranoid people. I'm Patrick Ryan. Dennis Cheney's right here.
As always.
Thank you all so much for listening, watching. We appreciate it. As always, if you want to help us out, hit the like, share, subscribe, leave us a comment, follow us on all the places, on Twitter, accounts Cryptic, on Instagram, Cryptic Accounts Clips, and everywhere else just at Cryptic Accounts. Helps us out more than you know. Go to the website, crypticaccounts.com. If you would like to support the show, we would appreciate that very much. Again, liking more than anything and sharing helps us, obviously, with this content. But if you've got some extra that you'd like to help us, grow this show and be able to produce more content, we would appreciate that. We take cards. You can do it that way, or you can, of course, donate crypto to us. We love cryptocurrency. But yeah, go to the support the show page on the website, and we appreciate that. But again, the biggest thing of all, like, share, subscribe, write comments, leave us 5-star reviews everywhere that you're listening or watching, because content like this tends to get pushed down a little bit. So we appreciate it. And yeah. So you ready to get into...
I am. You gave me a preview and I'm scared. This stuff scares me.
This is one that definitely, as I was putting it together, and we're going to get to a part of it that we're going to react to it together in real time, because I found some audio that I didn't want to fully listen to when I heard it. It sent chills down my spine, and I was like, nope, Dennis is going to have to do this with me. Not gonna do this twice. So let's jump right into it. I don't know that this is a topic that we've ever really addressed directly.
No.
I think we
did one haunted house episode.
Yeah, and there really wasn't exorcisms involved in that, I don't think.
Not like this.
No, this is let's just get into it. So, in a society dominate... Okay, so... sorry. That was my open. So, today we're going to examine, documented cases of what appears to be demonic activity in our modern world. And we're going to approach it with the topic with both spiritual discernment and healthy skepticism, I feel like.
Yeah.
But... we're going to remember that, the wisdom of testing every claim rather than accepting things at face value. So with that, I want to get into exorcisms in America. They're on the rise in America.
I know, which does not shock me at all.
So in 2005, the Catholic Church only had 12 officially appointed exorcists in the United States.
Okay.
Which I didn't realize it was that low, honestly. I thought there was more than that.
Yeah, I would assume.
There's 12 dudes that, that's their job.
Okay.
But today, so in the last 20 years, that number has grown to 175.
Wow.
Yeah. Big growth. These guys are busy.
That's a lot, man.
Yeah.
That does not shock me, though. With everything going on in the world with a lot of times I watch the news and I'm like, our society is under, what's under possession? Is it oppression?
It's oppression. Yeah.
We are under low key major demonic oppression. All you got to do is just look at the people on TV, man. Like,
Well,
look what our entertainment is. Look how people act in the news. Look at the things they chant at political things. Dude, like, this does not shock me.
it seems like the veil is being lifted
Mm-hmm.
pretty quickly, honestly. So while we may have theological differences with Catholic tradition, we can learn a lot from documented cases that they've investigated, I feel like.
There's also a very famous Protestant guy who does exorcisms.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not stumble on him. Like, so I'm focusing, I think, on 3 or 4.
Yeah. Most of the really well documented ones are Catholic because that's where it comes from. But, like, it's just been on everybody who messes with this stuff. And that's why it's so scary to me is I feel like it's so underlying now and it's so everywhere,
Yes.
from just like the increase in like road rage, all this stuff, like that it's scary to like I get scared looking into it because I don't want to like get too close. You know what I mean? Like
We're gonna
back.
zoom in a little bit. So one Catholic exorcist, Father Vincent Lampert, he reports receiving about 3,500 requests for help annually
Oh,
from people of various faith backgrounds. He estimates that genuine demonic possession is rare, perhaps 1 in 5,000. This suggests that while spiritual forces may be real, they may not be behind every problem that people face.
yeah.
So, Father Lampert received his training in Rome, where he observed 40 exorcisms performed by a Franciscan priest over a 3-month period. So he's saying there's 1 in 5,000, but he's like, yeah, but I saw like 40 in 3 months when I was in Europe.
Yeah, does he mean 1 in 5,000 people in the world? Because if that's the case, you'd be talking millions.
Well, of the cases that are getting
At
brought
least
to
a
them,
million of real.
he's saying he's seeing 3,500 a year.
But at Rome, they would have sent like the worst cases there.
Probably. Also, there's 175 of these guys running around the U.S. that are all probably dealing with, or at least examining a few thousand every year.
Yeah. I know, and again, I'll say the word again. I think oppression is way more common than possession. Full on, it's in your body, using you like a puppet. Like, I would agree that's probably still very rare.
Well,
or pretty rare.
Maybe. I don't know. I go back and forth on this because we're not going to get into the weeds with like deliverance ministry and them thinking that people who are saved can be like possessed.
Right.
But you got to think about the world as a whole.
Yeah.
Like those are all pretty much open doors.
Yeah.
And the amount of people that play with things like witchcraft.
Oh, yeah.
And just all the different facets that come with that, like even astrology and stuff like that.
I'm just saying those people may not be full on.
Maybe not.
It has complete possession. I mean, possession means what it means. Like you are possessed by it.
Yeah.
It owns you, kind of in a way. So I would still say it would have
even the possession cases, and we're going to get into it. It's not like an all the time thing.
No.
It's like this thing's in them, and then sometimes it just kind of takes control and does a bunch of weird stuff.
Yeah. Now that I think the sometimes possession, I think that happens every day.
That's what I'm saying.
You read these stories about guys who eat someone's face off or something, and it's like, yeah, they're probably on a drug, but
maybe.
How come the people on the drug, they never like, these people who have like these astrology experiences or whatever, or like take ayahuasca, like they very rarely ever become like, oh, I'm gonna manifest an end to world hunger. It's always like dark things.
Well, yeah.
It's always like I'm gonna get revenge on my ex, and so I think that's like low key possession.
And that's what I'm saying. It may not all be like just like something you've seen in a movie, like
oh yeah, or the people that snap do like mass pew-pews.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I think a lot of those are possession.
That are elf waves.
Yeah, that's true.
There's some of that, I think. So, Father Lampert's intensive training prepared him for his role as a designated exorcist for the Roman Catholic Archdiocese of Indianapolis. So, his approach combines traditional Catholic rituals with surprisingly modern, even skeptical methodology. So, Father Lampert distinguishes between 4 types of extraordinary demonic activity. There's one which he calls full-on infestation, which is the presence of evil in a location or an object. This manifests as unexplained noises, foul odors that come and go, objects moving on their own, or doors opening and closing without human intervention.
Mhm.
Which there's a fair amount of that, and
What
I
most
think
people
that's
call like a haunting.
and that's more I think of what we've actually touched on in the show with stuff that's happened with the House of 200 Demons
Yep.
and the Sally House. So then there's also vexation, which is a physical attack on a person. This can include unexplained scratches, bruises, or bite marks appearing on the body. Victims often report feeling pushed, slapped, or struck by invisible forces. And I know people that have actually experienced that.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if you've ever met anybody, like, especially when we were kids growing up in, like, the Kansas City area, Stoll Cemetery.
Yep.
Like, I know people that have snuck into that, and I've seen the scratches when they've come back. Like, they went through it, like, they heard something come up behind them and, like, threw them to the ground and, like, ripped their shirt. They have, like, claw marks across their chest.
Sometimes sigils.
Yeah.
I know somebody, I don't want to get into who it is. I know somebody who claims to have been outright physically attacked by like a shadow person.
That's what I'm saying. That's basically what I'm talking about
Yeah.
with Stoll. And I don't know if you, like, heard about that place growing up. Like,
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
I lived not far from it. Like, it was a good 40-minute drive. So people went out there all the time.
I'm sure. Yeah, that was like the high school thing to do.
Yeah, is go hop the fence and break in. Like, that. I don't know if we covered that on the show or not, where they actually burned down the church because so many, like,
I think we did.
I think we did cover it at one point.
Oh,
I don't remember if that was one that I couldn't find. You know what? I don't know that we did. I think that was one that we kept talking about, and I couldn't find enough, like, concrete evidence to actually bring it to the show.
me and you have talked about it.
Yes, we've definitely talked about it, but there's so much conflicting stuff with that. I don't think we ever presented it on the show because, like, if you've been watching, you know, like, it's not, we don't just go on 4chan and look at whatever the weird thing is and then just come talk about it. Like, it's usually pretty well documented as you go back through our past episodes. So, back to Father Lamport. The third one that he talks about is obsession, which is mental attacks, and I think this is more what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Which involve intrusive, disturbing thoughts that feel foreign to the person experiencing them, and victims describe these as thoughts that seem to come from outside themselves, often violent or blasphemous in nature.
Yeah. I think that's widespread across our country.
I do too. And then the one that we're really kind of diving in on here, full-on possession, which is full control of a person's body. And Father Lampert said this is extremely rare, actually. In these cases, the person's consciousness is actually suppressed while another entity speaks through them. He goes on to emphasize that true possession is the rarest form, occurring in perhaps 1 out of every 5,000 cases, as I mentioned. So this categorization is going to be helpful for understanding different manifestations of what many believe to be spiritual opposition as we kind of move through this.
Now that makes the 5,000 number make more sense.
Yes.
Because that doesn't mean demons aren't involved in 4,999.
It just means they're not full on in control.
Some are fake, some are insanity, some are the other three.
Yes.
Yeah, so ugh.
So what's particularly striking about documented cases is the consistency of manifestations across different cultures and time periods. So Father Lampert reports witnessing levitation during exorcisms, which is a pretty common thing when you get to that level of it, where a possessed person's body floated a foot out of their chair. Like, they'd just be sitting there and then they just, like, rise. And he describes eyes rolling back in their head, growling and snarling, foaming at the mouth, and voices becoming deeper and more authoritative. So in one account, he states, I've seen when demons manifest, this is him talking, the person's body will drop to the floor and slither like a snake.
Oh.
I've seen when manifestations begin, the faces become contorted, and even sometimes the tongues that come out are like a snake.
Oh.
So, like, their tongue, like, it gets longer than normal, and it'll, like, split. Like, it does, like, unnatural things. And he goes on to say, during a recent exorcism, when the demon finally manifested, the person's eyes in front of me turned green, and their pupils became slanted like a serpent.
Ooh. I wonder how many of these, like, shape-shifting things are just possession.
Ooh, I hadn't thought about
Like
that.
how many celebrities or famous people are low key possessed? Like,
Well, and I know there. I've got an episode that I've been toying with for like a while now, and it's on like demonic Hollywood and like the amount of celebrities that have come out and they make jokes, but some of them aren't really jokes about like selling their soul.
yeah,
Like Bob Dylan talks about it, like, and he like does it very tongue in cheek. There's an interview you can find of him talking about like he basically made a trade with the man in charge, the
right.
man who runs everything. And they're like, "What do you mean?" It's just he's like just the guy who runs everything, this world.
You know who I'm talking
That's
about.
basically
Yeah.
what he does. Yeah, there's this very famous interview. But yeah, so Father Lampert isn't alone in reporting these phenomenon. Father Daniel Rehill, another exorcist who appeared on the Sean Ryan show in October 2024, corroborated many of these accounts. He described similar physical transformations and added that in some cases, the possessed person exhibited supernatural strength, with small framed individuals requiring multiple strong adults to restrain them,
Yes.
like children.
Oh,
Like children having like
power of like a grown bodybuilder.
yes.
Yeah.
So these manifestations align with ancient accounts. In Mark 9, we read about a boy with symptoms that convulse him so that he foams at the mouth, grinds his teeth, and becomes rigid. When brought before Jesus, the boy fell to the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. So, like, this goes back thousands of years. This has been happening.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we approach all this, though, we got to approach these claims of demonic activity with discernment. Not every unusual behavior or mental health issue is spiritual in nature. In fact, wisdom calls us to test everything and hold fast to what is good. So, the Catholic Church approaches potential possession cases with skepticism at this point.
Right.
They require psychiatric evaluations and medical evaluations before proceeding with an exorcism. And we're going to get into why. This cautious approach stems from hard lessons learned. So Father Lampert explains his process. Quote, there's a very strict protocol that I follow. A person needs to have a psychiatric evaluation and a medical examination by a doctor. I'm basically asking them, is there something about this person's condition that you cannot explain? I then sit down and do an intake questionnaire trying to determine if this is demonic. The church works with anyone who believes that they're up against the forces of evil. My main goal is to determine if that is really the case because I'm trained to be a skeptic, which actually surprised me when I read that.
I kind of knew that. I don't know how I knew that. But yeah, I do know that that's taken. It's always there. They're always trying to disprove the supernatural before you would
Yes.
go all in on it.
Well, you want to know why?
Well, probably because bad things happen.
Yes. So in 1974,
Yeah.
because I think before this point, they would go a lot harder, a lot faster at this. A case known as the Barnsley case became a turning point. Michael Taylor, after undergoing a prolonged exorcism late at night by an Anglican priest, returned home and murdered his wife.
Oh.
He was later found not guilty by reason of insanity. Following this tragedy, the Archbishop of Canterbury established guidelines for exorcism that included a requirement for, quote, collaboration with the resources of medicine. These guidelines have been revised several times since, but the principle remains not every claim of possession is genuine, and mental health must be considered. This tragic case reminds us that mental illness is real and misdiagnosed, and if misdiagnosed, if it gets misdiagnosed as something demonic, it can have devastating consequences. And we should recognize that both spiritual resources, prayer, scripture, faith, and natural resources, medicine, therapy, and science, have their place in addressing human suffering. Because we're gonna, and I
It's
think
crazy though. What if he was possessed?
well, I get into a little bit later. At one point, and I don't want to spoil it, but I feel like it fits here, and I should have probably put it here. There was an exorcism that they ended up like charges getting filed against like the
Oh.
priest and the family
Right.
for like not handling this correctly.
I mean, but here's the other problem. the court system's never going to say it's demonic.
Probably not.
That's impossible. So even if a demon took control of somebody and that person went out and murdered somebody, and they told the psychiatrist and they told the judge and they told all the lawyers, I was completely not in control, I have no memory, they're never going to say that's possession. They're just, the best they can do is mental illness.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's
Which still doesn't mean we shouldn't count that stuff out or work with the doctors and the priests, but like that doesn't make me think just because they got sued that wasn't possession. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, or that
I
guy that
agree.
murdered his wife could have 100% been possessed.
Yeah. Oh no, I definitely think that's a very real possibility that's what happened, and then a court using the rule of law is like, yeah, but they don't seem crazy. That must have been like a mental health issue then.
Yeah. They can't, a secular court can't say demons.
And it'd be really hard to prove. The demon would have to like manifest during, and even
then they would say, look, he has multiple personalities.
Yeah, they would say something like that. Yeah, they would lean on science for sure. So perhaps the most famous case is the one that inspired the movie The Exorcist. The exorcism of a 14-year-old boy known by the pseudonym Roland Doe or Robbie Mannheim. In January 1949, which I didn't realize that movie was inspired by something that far back.
I didn't either.
So in January 1949, in Cottage City, Maryland, this 14-year-old boy experiencing strange phenomena after playing with a Ouija board following the death of his beloved aunt, who had introduced him to the board. So the disturbances began with scratching sounds inside the walls of the boy's bedroom. Soon after, his bed began to shake violently at night. Furniture moved across the room without human contact, and objects reportedly flew or levitated in his presence. So that's
infestation.
Yes, that's basically infestation on that one. The family first sought help from their Lutheran pastor, who observed some of the strange phenomenon and recommended they consult Catholic priests due to their experience with such matters. Which I'm just like, so the Lutheran was like, I don't know, man, call the Catholic.
It always ends up, if you watch any show about this, it always ends up with the Catholic Church. It always.
I mean, they are the most experienced.
Yeah. Yeah. That does not shock me. This is crazy though that I didn't know that story was. One, I wasn't completely sure if it was based on a real thing, but also 1949. I didn't realize people were playing with Ouija boards in 1949. I guess they had those back in the 1800s, though.
I feel like they've been around for a really long time.
That's scary. Isn't it weird we made it like a Milton Bradley?
Which I don't know if it just became, I'm assuming it was like where there was no trademark, and it's like a lot of how Disney took a lot of old like fairy tales and turned them into movies.
I think that's probably exactly.
Because they were common, whatever. I can't think.
We might as well profit off it.
Yes.
Can't be making a board game without me.
That's pretty much what it comes down to. So, after medical doctors could not find any explanation for the boy's condition, his desperate parents did turn to the Catholic Church. So what makes this case particularly compelling is the extensive documentation that went about through it. Multiple Jesuit priests were involved in the exorcism, including Father William Bodern, who kept detailed records. Father Walter Halloran, who assisted in the exorcism, later gave interviews about his experiences. Witnesses, including not only clergy, but medical professionals who observed phenomenon they could not explain. So from the diary of Father Raymond Bishop, one of the priests involved, quote, during the first night that the boy spent in the hospital, a heavy bedstead moved away from the wall. Most of the time, the movement of the bed was slight, perhaps 1 or 2 inches. I was holding the boy's hand, sitting beside his bed, when the whole bed began to move away from the wall. I had to stand up and walk alongside it.
Whoa.
The boy reportedly spoke in ancient languages he had never studied, including Hebrew and Latin.
Oh, great.
When the priest sprinkled him with holy water without his knowledge, he would scream in pain. Words allegedly manifested on his body, appearing as raised welts on his skin, spelling out words like hell and evil.
Oh my gosh.
During one session, the boy broke free from his restraints and broke Father Halloran's nose with a supernatural strength that seemed impossible for a teenager.
How old was he?
14?
Okay. Who?
Yeah, he was 14. So, broke his nose, and then the exorcism required more than 30 sessions over several weeks to complete, which is always kind of. And I've been trying to figure out how I wanted to address this part. Because every time I hear, like, because there's ones that's like, it took 60
Years.
sessions.
Yeah.
It took years. And I'm just like, man, are these the people that are going to hear, Lord, Lord, I never knew you? And but we prophesied, we cast out demons.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
like I don't know. Because when you hear, I mean, but also at the same time, the apostles came back and there were ones that they could not cast out.
Right.
And Jesus is like, these only come out by prayer and supplication. Like,
Yeah.
that's it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point, but I don't know if I jump to that judgment in any given case.
No, and I'm not.
Yeah, because of the disciples and because, sometimes it might be a legion. And if you got to go through it one by one.
That's the other thing, too, is like,
know.
yeah, what if there's a bunch of them in there and this is happening? And so that was something that kept, like, kind of hitting me as, like, I was researching this, of just, like, why can't they do that?
Yeah.
Like, but then I think back to, again, the apostles, and it's like, Jesus is the only one that we know of that could literally just come out.
Right.
And even then, there were times that, like, it riled or it convulsed, and then it came out. Like, it even fought against Jesus a little bit at times when those would happen. So the final breakthrough came as at Alexian Brothers Hospital in St. Louis, where, according to the priest accounts, the boy had a vision of Saint Michael the Archangel holding a flaming sword. After this vision, the boy suddenly returned to normal.
Oh,
with no memory of what happened during his possession.
Let's go.
It's like, it's like literally heaven had to send, like, an archangel
That's crazy.
to, like, defeat whatever this was.
What was that? There's another biblical story. Was it Daniel? It was when he's visited by the angel. It says, I was caught up with.
I was caught up.
With the Prince of Persia or whatever.
It wasn't the Prince of Persia. It was Lucifer.
Oh, okay. But he was, like, caught up doing.
He was battling with something.
He was praying, and God had answered his prayer.
And the angel got held up fighting with demonic.
Yeah, the angel was in a traffic jam.
Basically, the angel had to fight his way because, I mean, they're not all powerful.
Right. So, I mean, that could also explain why it takes so many sessions.
That could be too. You know what? That's a good point. I hadn't thought about that. That actually makes a lot of sense. Like, maybe it isn't that it takes 30 or 60 times. It's that whatever it is that heaven's sending that actually does deal with this.
It's a war.
There's a war happening, and
like, the first three, it's like, we need reinforcements. Yeah. Now there's more. Because at one point, it's just literally angels fighting angels, because that's the way God does it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I would,
You know what? I hadn't thought about that and all this. That's actually a really good point. I think that actually, that makes a lot of sense on, like, what may actually hold some of this stuff up. And it's not, you're right. Daniel, I already answered your prayer, and Daniel's still praying.
Right.
So, remarkably, the boy went on to live a normal life afterwards, reportedly with no memory of what had happened. He is believed to have married and led a productive life, never experiencing similar phenomena ever again. So this case illustrates the potential dangers of occult involvement. Many spiritual traditions, including Christianity, warn against practices like Ouija boards and divination, seeing them as potential doorways to negative spiritual influences. So now let's move on to the Anneliese Michel case.
Oh, no, the smile on your face. This is the one, isn't it? Okay, all right.
Did I give it away?
Let's do it.
So another well-documented case is that of Anneliese Michel, a German woman born in 1952. Her case is particularly tragic and raises important questions about the balance between medical and spiritual approaches. No, we're not quite there yet. I'm just letting you know.
Okay.
I'll let you know. Anneliese was raised in a devout Catholic family in Bavaria, Germany. By all accounts, she was a normal, happy child until 1968, when at age 16, she experienced her first convulsion. Medical professionals diagnosed her with temporal lobe epilepsy, and she was prescribed medication. Despite the medication, her conditions deteriorated. By 1973, Anneliese began experiencing hallucinations while praying. She reported seeing demonic faces and hearing voices telling her she was damned and would rot in hell.
Oh,
She became intolerant of religious objects, unable to walk past a certain crucifix, and refusing to drink holy water.
is that the obsession?
Yeah,
They're hearing voices, but they're not.
yeah, that would fall into that
Okay.
category. So, as her behavior became more extreme, she began displaying truly disturbing behaviors, eating spiders and coal, drinking her own urine, and crawling under a table and barking like a dog for 2 days.
Good for pest control, but not good for.
No, I mean, there were no spiders in that house. Most disturbingly, though, she began speaking in a deep, gravelly voice that identified themselves as 6 different demons,
Oh, great.
including Lucifer, Judas Iscariot, Nero, Cain, Hitler, and a disgraced priest by the name of Fleeceman. Her Catholic family, convinced that she was possessed rather than ill, eventually sought help from the church. After initially refusing, the church finally granted permission for an exorcism in September 1975. 2 priests, Father Arnold Rains and Father Ernest Alt, conducted 67 exorcism sessions over 10 months, sometimes lasting up to 4 hours. What makes this case particularly compelling, oh, this is the one, Dennis, is the audio documentation.
Oh no.
The priest recorded many of the sessions.
Are we gonna hear Hitler?
Oh no, this isn't the one.
Okay,
Sorry,
okay.
I should have checked for this one. This isn't the one that I've been teasing. I'm playing with you now a little bit. So the priest recorded many of the sessions, capturing multiple voices and languages coming from Anneliese. In these recordings, which are available online but are deeply disturbing to hear, the voice speaks in different tones and languages, including ancient languages that Anneliese never studied.
See, that to me is dead proof.
Oh, yeah. If you're speaking in another language, like if you come out and you start hitting me with some Latin,
Oh yeah.
and you're like a 17 or 20-year-old girl that has never studied Latin, like now we're definitely talking about a demon.
Undeniable proof that it's not just like schizophrenia.
No, something else is happening. So during the exorcisms, Anneliese refused to eat, saying that demons wouldn't allow it. She performed hundreds of gyneflections daily until her knees ruptured and she suffered broken knees. Her body was covered in bruises, and her face became gaunt and almost unrecognizable from her earlier photographs. So tragically, Anneliese died on July 1st, 1976, from malnutrition and dehydration. At the time of her death, she weighed only 68 pounds.
Oh man.
So she's like 20 something years old at this point. Her parents and the priest were charged with negligent homicide
Yeah.
as they stopped her medical treatment in favor of exorcism. They received suspended sentences. So I think this is the one I was talking about where I think
That's when you gotta change things a little.
yeah, you got to change things pretty dramatically. Now we definitely need to have medical doctors involved to
Yeah.
make sure this isn't something else going on, and also make sure you're treating the body as you're dealing with whatever.
Got a tube feeder or something.
Well, there was definitely something happening on another level,
Yeah.
like with the voices and different languages and all that. Like there was something demonic happening, but they neglected the body
Yeah.
in that. So
Tragic.
yeah, it's very tragic. The medical examiner determined that Anneliese could have been saved even a week before her death if she had been properly hydrated and fed, which raises profound questions about the ethics of spiritual intervention that exclude medical care. And I think this is probably, I mean, this is definitive why
Yeah.
the Catholic Church does it the way they do it now.
That would also probably make the exorcism harder because you probably literally, if you wanted to get her hydrated, you'd probably have to sedate her,
You'd have to
probably
do an
knock her
IV.
out, do some IVs, and she couldn't be awake because
You'd have to
they'd be
restrain
ripping
her at a
at you.
minimum to put an
Yeah.
IV in her arm.
So that's time that can't be used, and that sucks.
This case highlights a critical principle. Spiritual and medical approaches need to not be mutually exclusive. There's wisdom in seeking both prayer and medical treatment, as they can work hand in hand. The book of James speaks of both anointing with oil, which is a spiritual practice, and the importance of practical care for the sick. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
makes sense.
Now, a third case, Dennis.
Row.
And this is the one we've been waiting to get to. This is the one I've been saving for you. And we're all probably about to be a little bit
This
freaked
was
out.
the teaser.
So, the Enfield Poltergeist,
Enfield.
which occurred in
Okay.
yeah, get the laughs in now because they're about to go away really fast. This occurred in North London between 1977 and 1978. While not a classical possession case, it involved phenomenon often associated with demonic activity. This event centered around the Hodgson family, a single mother, Peggy, and her 4 children, who lived in a council house in Enfield. The phenomenon began in August 1977 when Janet, 11, and Margaret, 13, Hogsden, reported that their beds were shaking. Soon, the disturbances escalated dramatically.
It's why you don't mess around with, like, if you got a weird thing going on in your house. Could be a buildup.
It usually is. It usually starts kind of light and then just progresses.
Right.
So the family home became the site of unexplained knocking that followed a distinct pattern, often responding to questions with a specific number of knocks. So they start kind of communicating with this.
Right.
Like they hear this thing and then they start asking it questions. It starts responding by knocking. They interact with it more. Then furniture starts moving across rooms without human contact, sometimes sliding several feet in a few seconds. Objects flew through the air, including Lego bricks, marbles, and even a heavy fireplace that was wrenched to the wall.
Whoa.
Flew across the room.
Oh my gosh.
Pools of water appeared inexplicably on the
What's
floor.
water? That happens in a lot of hauntings.
It does happen a lot, and I don't know. I've not heard any, like, in everything I've read, I've never heard like an explanation on why water appears. But it does seem to appear a lot in these. As well as fires starting spontaneously.
Yeah. But elemental things.
Yes, very elemental things. So what makes this case remarkable is the number and credibility of witnesses. So over 30 people, including neighbors, journalists, and researchers. A police officer, WPC Carolyn Heaps, signed an affidavit testifying that she saw a chair move across the room on its own, stating, quote, "It moved across the floor at a speed of about a foot a second. I checked it for hidden wires or any other means by which it could have been moved. I could see no rational explanation for its movement." The Society for Psychical Research.
Oh, yeah, they're interesting.
Yes, we should probably talk about them at some point in more detail. They investigated this extensively. So, researcher Maurice Gross and writer Guy Leon Playfair documented the case over 14 months, capturing audio recordings of a gruff, obscene male voice coming from 11-year-old Janet.
Okay.
This voice claimed to be that of Bill Wilkins, a man who died in the house years earlier. When researchers checked local records, they confirmed that a man of that name had indeed died in that house. The voice was particularly disturbing because it came from Janet, but sounded nothing like her. It was deep, gruff, and used vocabulary and phrases that would be unusual for a child. When speaking in this voice, Janet's larynx visibly moved in ways that would be nearly impossible to fake. And before we get to the voice, Photographs taken during the investigation appear to show Janet levitating off her bed, suspended in midair. In one famous series of photos, she appears to be thrown across the room by invisible force. So here's Janet, Dennis.
Oh,
Levitating.
that is terrifying.
So now you see what Janet looks like.
Yeah.
And I will put this up on YouTube. If you go to the website, if you're listening on audio, go to the show research, and you can see, like, I'm putting everything up as a blog that we do as research. So you could scroll down, and this picture will be in the notes from this show. So with that, Dennis, are you ready to hear the voice that came out of little old Janet?
Yep.
Hello. Hello. Yeah. Margaret's sleeping, I'm talking. Margaret's sleeping, I'm talking. Margaret's sleeping, I'm talking. Wow. Wow, sleep. Mr. Brown fell asleep and he's talking. Sound. Hello. Love food talking.
Mr. Gross! Mr. Gross! Quick! Mr. Gross!
Yeah.
Oh, something. I was in it wrong. I'm sorry. Oh,
Who?
God, my soul, Margaret. She was not Anneliese.
Margaret what?
She's not Anneliese.
All right, I get why you wanted to listen to that together.
Oh, yeah, when I heard that first hello when I was putting all this together, I was like, nope,
Nope.
nope,
Nope.
nope. Nope, like, it just chills down my spine, and, like, I can't even fully understand everything. It just
No.
kept on saying hello, and then,
And
like,
talking, listening while I'm talking.
and I apologize for the language in that, but, man,
Ooh.
again, that was coming out of an 11-year-old girl.
Yeah. That's impossible.
Yeah.
That's like something has to be contorting here and stretching. And,
Yes, and like I said, like they could
that's
see,
hard to talk this long.
they could see like in her neck and her larynx.
Oh yeah,
like,
physical distortion.
Yes, physical distortion because it's doing something to the vocal cords.
Mm-mm-mm.
Did it give you like chills as you listen to that?
Yeah, I still don't feel like right in the head. The
I'll be honest, since I listened to that,
11-year-old girl.
I keep hearing that hello.
Oh, like not out loud, right?
No.
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
it's in my head though.
Yeah.
So
Kind of like we were talking about on the episode about the Nephilim,
mhm.
how they want to be in a body again. You know, it's like just getting things the right way. And oh, can you hear me? I'm talking. It's kind of like how you'd talk if you were like testing out a walkie-talkie.
It was saying that, like, can you hear me? I'm talking.
Yeah, it's like I'm talking. Listen, like it like
It's
if
like-
you're on the other side and you're trying to like use this person as like a meat puppet to like
Well, I mean, we get on mic
Get
and we're like, check.
yeah, it's
Like-
kind of like the demon check a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't like that. Don't like that at
don't
all.
like that at all. Very mechanistic.
Yes. So, like I said, the case was investigated by the Society for Psychical Research, and while they initially suspected the children might have been playing pranks, the volume and nature of the phenomena eventually convinced many of the investigators that something genuinely paranormal was occurring. Researcher Maurice Grouse, who initially was skeptical, became convinced after witnessing objects moves on their own and hearing the strange voice coming from Janet. So this happened more than once.
Yeah.
Like this is just
Over
one,
14 months. You
yeah,
said.
this is just one they recorded, and I think there are more recordings out there. That was just I found that one and I'm like, that's enough. That's all I need to hear of that. While skeptics have suggested, like I said, the children were playing pranks, the volume of the witness testimony, including professionals with no stake in the matter, like the police officer going on record saying they saw stuff, is like, as we've talked
Why
about,
would you do that?
like the Blinded by the Light, 1979,
Yeah.
the cop that like got froze by like some sort of craft. Like, you have no reason to lie about
You just make
this.
yourself sound crazy.
Yeah. It makes it difficult to dismiss this. Janet herself has conflicting accounts over the years, sometimes admitting to faking some incidents, but maintaining that most of the phenomena were genuine. Which that part confused me when I read about all this. Because
She probably just like wants a normal life.
there is probably
know.
that, because you would. I mean, I'm sure, got bugged about this for
Yeah.
years.
There'd
after.
probably be days or months where you'd be like, I faked it, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
So this case reminds us that there may be more to our world than we can see and measure with scientific instruments. As Shakespeare wrote in Hamlet, there are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
I had a lot of weird Shakespeare stuff happen this week.
Have you?
Yeah. I just
Well-
keep getting Shakespeare videos and he keeps coming up in things. I'll be looking up one thing and he'll come up for no reason.
It was a weird note that I kind of put in there. It just
Yeah.
kind of it made sense. So, beyond possession of people, there are well documented cases of objects allegedly imbued with negative spiritual energy. These cases have captured public imagination and become part of our cultural landscape. Now, I want to talk about one that I actually just talked about
Mhm.
a little bit, but you weren't here for it, which was really weird to kind of do by myself. But so we're going to talk about it now, because
Okay.
I'm like, we're doing all this. We're going to talk about Annabelle. You and
I-
me are going to talk about Annabelle.
My mom saw Annabelle.
Like, in person?
Yeah.
You went to the Warren Museum?
Yeah.
Really?
I always tease her by saying, because she wants to take me out to Las Vegas real bad. It's whatever Baggins, whatever his name is, Zach Baggins. He has like a show on Discovery and stuff.
Yes.
He runs that museum. And Annabelle's
I
part of
didn't
it.
know. Yeah, I guess he does have a show. That's the Warren son-in-law.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes, the dude who's running that museum is the Warren. I guess I'm blanking on that his name is Baggins. I just always just.
I could be wrong too, but what? Some guy who does ghost investigations has a museum. He has the real
He's
Annabelle.
a ghost investigator. He doesn't run the museum.
I thought he owned the museum.
He may own a museum. Oh,
Well, whatever.
keep
It's in
telling me
Las
about your mom
Vegas.
thing. I can pull up that research and I can tell you the guy's name.
It's in Las Vegas. She's in there, and she's apparently near an entrance. And they tell you when you go there that you got to be real nice to her, and you got to say hello, and you got to say goodbye when you're leaving. And so my mom,
I
always-
wouldn't talk to it at all.
see. Okay, my mom always wants to take me to this museum because we do ghosty stuff sometimes, and I always tease her by saying I'm going to be rude to Annabelle.
Don't do that. People have literally died.
I know they died on like their way home and stuff. I know.
So the guy who runs the museum is Tom Spera, which is the Warren son-in-law.
Okay.
That's who actually has Annabelle.
Okay.
They were
I
touring
don't know
it.
what I was
Like
thinking.
they've been touring her around. That box she's in is like a blessed, anointed box. Like, you don't want to open it. You don't want to be rude to her.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of people that have gone in and
I would
disrespected
just
Annabelle.
ignore her. I guess. Yeah.
People get in car wrecks after they leave the museum.
I've
Like,
heard that.
that's happened multiple times.
Oh,
Like,
I'm
do
gonna
not
be rude to that doll, Pat. Oh, I want to be rude to that doll.
don't go be rude to the doll, Dennis. I mean,
Oh,
obviously God's in control of all of it.
it's the contrarian me. I want to be rude to that doll. I'm not gonna be rude to that doll. I don't want to dude, stuff like this. This episode we're doing makes me never want to touch.
I mean, if anything, pray the blood
It
of
makes me
Jesus
not want to
over
go
it.
to that museum.
I wouldn't want to be in there. I know there's a lot. Like, I know there's people like there's people I follow that will go to do evangelism at like witchcraft cons,
Yeah.
and they'll be in places that are wholly demonic,
Yes.
and they're in there witnessing. And I'm like, more power to you. Like,
Yeah.
that's a
You better
pra-
be in a real good spiritual place.
I mean, yeah, like, and it should happen, and I shouldn't be intimidated by it, but I definitely am
Yeah.
on a level where I'm just like, I don't even want to go mess with that.
Yeah. I'm feeling that way more and more. I used to go on a bunch of ghost hunts and stuff, and
See, I have no desire to go do any of that.
I have less and less and less. And every time I did it up to the last one, I was like, started even just feeling bad. Like, even if it is ghosts, like, why are we messing with them? And the last one I went on, I was just like, I don't think I'll ever again. And nothing really happened. It was just like, there was a lot about it. There was a lot of like, I felt disrespect. There was a lot of not taking it seriously. There was a lot of like, somebody broke out a Ouija board at midnight, and I got the hell out of there. I was like, I don't want to be anywhere
Nope.
on this floor.
Nope. That's
I was like, bye. But I saw them before I realized what they were doing. Somebody was like, oh, look what they're doing in this room. And I went into this room, all the lights are out. We were at a mental hospital. And I go in and they got candles and they're doing a Ouija board. And they're talking about Zoso. And I was like, bye.
What is Zoso?
I'm going outside. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't want to know. I've heard that before, though.
That's a name you've heard before?
Yeah, I'll Google it.
So
Sorry, back to Annabelle.
no, because this had me thinking, and we're gonna go. Like, I'm gonna go off on something here that I did not plan. So I took my son to Colorado a couple years ago. He'd never seen the mountains, so we went to the mountains. There's a place, and I'm blanking on the name of the caves now, outside of Colorado Springs, that they do a like haunted tour
Yeah.
where it's like you go into this, they don't have like footing set up, like you crawl through things, you bring a lantern with you, like it's all natural, like they have done nothing to these caves.
I see caves. I just don't mess with to begin with.
I have a weird fascination with caves. Like
You're gonna end up as one of those graphics of the guy and
like I follow a lot of the people that go look for the what's a way to get around this? Something walkers.
yeah.
That because they supposedly love caves.
Oh, I'm sure.
So this cave, man, I wish I could remember the cave system. It's outside of Colorado Springs. I'm sure if you're watching, you're shouting it out right now. Comment it because I don't remember. As soon as I hear it, I'll know. I didn't look this up, but talking about this. So we went through this cave and I got this weird feeling as soon as I got into it. Like there was just something off. And we crawl through these spaces, we go through this ravine, and we get to this part where they're like, okay, so up here, everybody might not want to do it, but there's this story about, like, there's this hole up here that, like, when people go up to it, like, something grabs them, and people have, like, disappeared, like, down this hole. Like, they just gone. Like, you can go look down at, like, people hear things calling to them every once in a while. Like, there's stories of people getting grabbed and just dragged down this hole.
I mean, where would you hide if you're an evil spirit? That's why, like, Jinn and, like, they always say they're in the basement. Like, they like dark, damp, underground, nasty.
Oh, I've definitely been in some basements that felt like they had something in them. And I don't know if I want to get... You know what I'm talking about right now. I don't know if I want to get into that right now.
Oh, yeah, we'll do it later. But did you... Yeah, we'll do that someday. But did you go to the hole?
I did.
Oh,
I did go up because you go one. They make it extra creepy. They let you go up one at a
did
time.
you just walk into the hole?
No, I mean you can see it.
Okay.
Like they're pretty much like you're gonna walk right up here. Like keep your lantern in front of you, but like there is a hole that you can't see the bottom. Like you can hold your lantern over it, you can't see how far it goes. And I looked over.
Who knows what lives in
No
there?
big deal. And so we're walking back through. And I don't remember if we took a different way out, but there was this place where I guess like a married couple had gone in here. Oh, I'm going to butcher the story. I might have to do an episode on this cave at some point to correct myself. And I'm sure if you know what I'm talking about, you're probably like, you're messing up the story. Where there was like this married couple that went in, and I don't remember if they got married in the cave or if they were just in there, but like the woman, like maybe she was engaged. She was engaged.
Mm-hmm.
And like she disappeared in this cave. And like supposedly she will like come out and go after like single men.
Oh.
In this cave. And they walked by.
She's for the cave.
On the way out, because we must have taken a different path. I think there was 2 paths and it ended up back at the beginning. So we walked by the center like, so that's the room where she died. She supposedly comes out and comes after people from that room.
Ooh.
In the cave. And given they're kind of placing something in your head.
Yeah.
But as I left, like I had felt fine through that whole thing until I got to that part. I started feeling it a little bit before they told me this. But once they told me that, like the whole way back, it felt like something was behind me the whole way. My son could not get out of there fast enough. Like he was freaked out on a whole nother level.
Oh, sure.
And like couldn't, like I'm kind of stalling back. Like I kind of want to see what happens.
Yeah.
And it
That's
felt
the way
like
I get it. Yeah.
It felt like something was behind me the whole way out. Like that chill that you get.
Did you turn around ever?
I did.
Yeah.
Nothing was there. but I kept turning around thinking something was right behind me. It
Yeah.
felt like something, you know, how, like you can feel a presence
Oh yeah.
when somebody's there, like that you don't know is there, but you're like, you can feel their whatever you want to call it.
Yes.
And it can be a person and you can turn around and there's somebody there. Like I felt that the whole way out of that. After I passed that room.
She was following you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of think so. And looking back, I'm like, man, I never want to toy with stuff like that again because I really do think I had gone into something that
That's
I
the way I'm
probably
starting
shouldn't
to
have
feel,
been
dude.
like wandering around in. But it definitely felt like there was a weird feeling through the entire like tour. And not just like because they hadn't really told like it was like the ghost tour or something like that. It was just basically like we haven't done anything to this. Like it's more rugged.
Right.
Like there's no lights. There were a lot of parts that were cool, but like there were a lot of parts that were like, yeah, actually, like believing what I believe, there is something to what
Something
you're
in
talking
there.
about.
Yeah.
And it was really weird.
I think they go somewhere. Okay, so Zoso. That's crazy, dude. How many years ago was that?
That was 22.
Okay.
So like 3 years ago.
Zoso, the reason it sounds so familiar was okay. It's associated with Led Zeppelin 4. I knew that, but it's a signal representing the planet Saturn that Jimmy Page says he got from an old occult grimoire called the Red Dragon.
Oh, and at some point we can get into Jimmy Page.
Oh, yeah.
And some demonic Hollywood stuff that I'm talking. Very obsessed with the occult.
And Zoso is a demon that frequently makes itself known through Ouija boards.
Well, isn't it Jimmy Page who bought
I think he
Anton
bought it,
LaVey's old mansion?
I think so, yeah.
And like he's very into like occult stuff. And actually, when you look into Led Zeppelin as a whole, there was some stuff going on.
Oh,
there.
I'm sure. Sorry for interrupting. We can get it.
Oh no. I like this little detour that we took. It's making me I really need to finish that research. I literally, and we've talked about it. I have like 3 different scripts on that topic going right now.
Well, you could probably do 10 shows on Hollywood people.
That's kind of where I'm at. It's trying to figure out how to organize it to make it multiple parts.
Oh yeah, you could do music people like the blues and it's selling your soul. You could do.
There's a lot of
Hollywood
accounts of
people.
selling your soul.
Oh yeah,
Where some of them come out and say it as a joke.
Crossroads. You know.
There's other ones who are like, no, I did, and it's not great.
So some of them did that. I mean, for sure.
Yes.
Why wouldn't you? For all the people with all their ambition in the world, some people are going to do it. The books are out there.
Yeah, and the amount of people that it's just like they came out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and they're just like, yeah, I sold my soul. And some of them say it as more of a joke than others, and then there's others that there's interviews that are like, no, I literally, I sold my soul for fame.
Ugh.
It's a real thing. So back to Annabelle, investigated by Ed and Lorraine Warren, which at some point we should probably do an episode.
That's another thing you could just have a whole show on. They did like 1,000 investigations.
So many things. I mean, their work inspired the Conjuring film series, which we could probably just go through those stories, honestly, because all those movies are based on real things that the Warrens did. So the real story of Annabelle began in 1970. When a nursing student named Donna received a vintage Raggedy Ann doll as a birthday gift from her mother. And I don't note it here, but from the Annabelle episode, she's like 27 when she gets this doll, which is a very weird gift to get from your mother as a full-grown woman.
Yeah.
Here's a doll, honey. So soon after bringing the doll to the apartment, she shared with another nursing student named Angie, strange things began to happen. The women would leave the doll on the couch before going to work, only to find it in one of their bedrooms upon returning. Nobody else lives there.
Right.
It's them. The 2 of them. They go to work, come home, doll's in a new place.
Doll's possessed.
So sometimes the doll would be found with his arms and legs in different positions too. Eventually, they began finding the doll with his legs crossed and arms folded or standing upright, leaning against the chair.
Now that one, oh heck no.
Like,
oh no, it's just
like this.
Yeah, I'd be like, nah.
Legs crossed and everything, just like standing there.
Striking a
pose. The phenomena escalated, as these things always do, when they began finding handwritten notes on parchment paper
Oh, great.
in the apartment. Here's the thing, Dennis. They didn't own any parchment paper. There was none in the
It's an
apartment.
A port.
The doll went out and bought parchment paper and came back and wrote notes.
Oh, great.
So, yeah. It have messages on it like "Help me" and "Help Lou."
Oh.
Lou is the name of their friend who frequently visited.
Okay. That's a twist.
They searched the apartment after this happened. Couldn't find any other parchment paper in the apartment except what this stuff was written on.
How bizarre.
The situation took a darker turn when Lou, who's a male friend who had been staying with them, woke up one night to find the doll at the foot of his bed. As he watched in horror, he claimed the doll climbed up his leg and onto his chest, where it began to try to strangle him.
Oh.
A little Raggedy Ann doll.
Yeah. Totally like has succubus vibes too.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just in a doll.
Yeah.
All these things like bleed into each other.
Did we ever do a succubus episode?
I don't think so.
I think. Sorry, there's things that me and Dennis talk about a lot, and then we have like we come to the show and we're like,
It just comes
is
up.
that an us conversation or is that a show conversation?
It just comes up a lot because it's such a common.
It is, and succubuses and incubuses, I might put it another. That's another one I need to put on the list to discuss at some point.
I don't even know how I would feel if a Raggedy Ann doll was strangling me. I guess it depended on how strong it was.
I mean, I've thought about that, and I'm like, it's this big.
Yeah, but it's something's moving it.
That's true, and like
Might be
much
very
like
powerful.
with a teenage girl getting the strength of a bodybuilder.
People smuggle people with pillows or whatever the word is.
A smother.
Smother, yeah.
So tries to strangle him. He blacks out and wakes up the next morning, but he's convinced it wasn't a dream. On another occasion, Lou was alone in the apartment
Get
when
rid of the doll. Okay, keep going. Why aren't you just getting rid of the doll?
That's kind of my thing. Like the first time that doll moves,
I'm like, bye.
and like me and my female friend I live with, like
I'd
are
say when
both
it starts
gone?
writing notes.
And I'm just like, hey, were you home? No? You're not playing a prank right now, right? Like if you and me live together.
Oh yeah,
And
I
the
would
doll
think it was a
moved.
prank up to the point where it strangled me. Probably, yeah. Even the notes, I'd be like, well, maybe Lou's like hiding stuff. I don't know.
I mean, there is the third guy, and you're like, yeah, maybe somebody's playing around. But I mean, I feel like, we play, like, we joke around and we goof with each other.
Eventually, you're like, it was a goof.
Like, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it's not a joke if you don't eventually fess up to it.
Right.
Like, now you're just being weird and demented.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, you can play a prank on somebody, but when you start messing with, like, their mental health,
Yeah.
like, you have to be like, nah, that was me messing with you, man.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't ever admit that, we're getting rid of that doll immediately.
Yeah, I don't even know why you'd want to.
And then I'm calling my mom and being like, where did you buy this Raggedy Ann doll?
That's the other question I have: is did the mom have an experience? Okay, but what happens to Lou next?
So, Lou's alone in the apartment when he heard rustling in Donna's room. Thinking it was an intruder, he cautiously entered the room and found the Annabelle doll thrown in a corner. As he approached it, he felt someone behind him.
Uh-oh.
When he turned, he saw no one, but then felt a searing pain on his chest. When he removed his shirt, he discovered what looked like 7 claw marks on his chest. 3 vertical and 4 horizontal, which bled for a short time, then healed unusually quickly, disappearing completely within 2 days.
Huh.
After the incident, Donna contacted a medium who conducted a seance, which was the wrong decision.
Yeah, this isn't gonna
and
get
all of
better.
it. Oh, we got like
Let's
some
talk to it.
like we got some demonic stuff happening. Let's do some more demonic stuff to try and figure out what's going on with the demonic stuff.
Let's give it energy.
Yep. So the medium told them that the doll was inhabited by the spirit of a 7-year-old girl named Annabelle Higgins, who had died on the property before the apartments were built. The spirit allegedly told the medium she felt comfortable with Donna and Angie and wanted to stay with them and be loved. Again, the doll has not done anything to Donna or Angie. It's Lou,
Yeah.
this dude that's hanging out that Annabelle does not like.
It's a male demon. That's why I didn't like Lou.
You think so?
Yeah.
I kind of go the opposite way.
Okay.
Like it's a female that something happened to. But that's okay. It's neither because it's a demon.
Well, I just would think that, first of all, you can't trust what it says.
No.
You can never trust what these things say. They're liars. It physically harmed him twice. So it's like, to me, it's kind of like it's like jealous
Maybe.
or something. I don't know.
And I don't know how to think about that because like we don't really like our angels. Okay.
You're like a perverted Nephilim.
Well, that's kind of where I'm going with this. That's why I think it's a dude who's jealous.
That's what I said.
Did I say female?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're right.
I said I think this thing's a dude who's jealous because he gets to live with these two hot nurses, and then Lou's messing it up.
Okay, I'm with
And
you.
he's
I don't
like,
know,
I gotta
don't know
run
what
Lou
my
off.
original thought was,
The
but
Scooby Doo situation.
I'm with you on this. Like, I do think that's probably what's happening because the more we delve into all this, it's like that's what all this is coming from. And back to Nephilim,
Yeah.
this is a disembodied,
Some kind of evil spirit. Yeah, it's something.
the child of the net. Like this is the offspring of
True.
the sons of God and the daughters of man.
If it is a little girl, why is it string? It wouldn't. I don't know. That just doesn't. Where 7 claw marks? Like it just. That sounds like a lie.
It feels weird.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a little girl energy. To a grown man on the chest. I don't know.
I only went that direction with it because.
Well, that's what the medium said.
Yeah, I'm kind of going with medium, which is where
Yeah.
that's where I'm messing up. Probably that is where
Okay.
I'm messing up. I think you're probably right. Actually, back to Nephilim energy. I think that's
It's something like that.
something like that,
Yeah.
and it does like living with these women.
It's like I'm trying to watch her shower here. I gotta get rid of
I
Lou.
mean, basically,
Lou would be messing up your vibe.
is it trying to figure out how to like inhabit Lou?
Oh, that would have been another. Yeah, try to get in Lou.
Because if you're in this doll, like you can't really do what you want to do in the doll body,
Right.
but that's the thing you could take
Mhm.
for whatever reason.
To get attention, to get energy, to do something, let people know you're somehow inhabiting something.
Yeah. Like this is one that, man, I'm already thinking about like other stuff I want to research right now
I know, me too.
to figure out like, okay, how do we get to that? Because like, man, that Nephilim episode is just like spurring me in so many different directions on like what's going on.
Yeah.
So they felt sympathy for the spirit. The roommates gave the doll permission to inhabit and stay with them. So now, like a vampire, it's fully been invited in.
Yeah, I told this little sob story.
Yep. But as the strange occurrences continued and became more threatening, they contacted an Episcopal priest, which was the wrong choice.
Uh-oh.
Who
Keep making wrong choices. Didn't get rid of the doll. Called
went
the
to a
medium,
medium, went to
called
the Episcopals.
Episcopals.
The Episcopals were like, we don't know what to do with this. You should call the Warrens.
Okay.
So
Seems like a backward step, but okay.
it is a weird. The whole thing's a weird, just series of events.
Yeah.
So Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are again self-described demonologists, investigated and claimed the doll was not possessed by a child spirit at all. According to the Warrens, the doll was being manipulated by an inhuman spirit, a demon,
Here we go.
that was seeking to possess a human host.
Boom. It all goes back. We're starting to crack this, man. We're starting to crack this whole thing.
I mean,
I'm going to, if we pick up more traction on the show, I'm going to be legit worried for our health and safety. Things happen to people who get too close.
just be praying the blood of Jesus over all of it. Honestly, that's really what needs to happen. The child spirit story was merely a deception to gain the women's sympathy and permission to remain. The Warrens took the doll and placed it in their occult museum in Monroe, Connecticut, where it has remained behind glass until the museum's closure following Ed Warren's death. Lorraine Warren claimed that during the drive home with the doll, their car's brake and steering failed,
Oh my god.
forcing Ed to sprinkle the doll with holy water to stop the apparent attack. Which is why this doll is contained the way it is now.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's in a glass enclosure. There's something with the way I have to dig back through the notes. There's something like that's in the construction of the wood, like it's blessed, the whole thing's blessed with holy water. Like there's a lot of like positives. I don't know a better term, but positive, like godly spiritual stuff that's being put on that box to constrain whatever that is.
Right.
And that's a very common theme with stuff like that, where like they have to be kind of contained. And we're going to get into more of that from actually different angles here in just a second. So, much like you were talking about just a little bit ago, visitors who have mocked the doll have reportedly experienced car accidents and other misfortunes right after leaving the museum. One young man allegedly taunted the doll and challenged it to scratch him like it did Lou, only to die in a motorcycle accident hours later. Hours! Literally left the museum on his motorcycle
Scratch deal, right?
and died. Many spiritual traditions acknowledge that objects can carry spiritual significance or influence. In the book of Acts, we read that early believers who had practiced sorcery brought their books together and burned them in the sight of all. These weren't just symbolic actions, they recognized that objects used in occult practices could serve as conduits for spiritual influence.
That was my next question. Is why don't you just burn her?
I don't know why they didn't burn her.
I think it's because the Warrens, that was their business.
There's a business element
Yeah.
to it.
But
So they kind of play with it a little bit.
that's why they were a backward step, because I would think if you're an exorcist and you're like, all right, throwing holy water on the doll's not working, you just destroy it.
I mean, that's what I would do.
Oh, for sure.
Let a doll that was moving around rooms,
Burn it.
burn it, or at least go throw it in a dumpster.
Yeah, you don't do that. I'll chucky you. Get out and come.
Well,
Depends on how powerful. You got to destroy the host.
that's true. Yeah, I guess if anything, that's why I don't have like dolls in the like.
I hate dolls. I hate dolls and I hate statues.
I'm glad my son is like there are no stuffed animals. There's nothing that can come alive. Like
If I ever have a kid, there will not be humanoid dolls. They've always freaked me out, dude. When I was a little kid, my grandpa had like a life-size stuffed Santa. Oh, I hated being in the room with that thing. It was like, it creeps me out to this day when I see it. I hate shit I hate stuff like that. So I hate it.
So, another infamous object is the Dubuque box. Have you ever heard of this?
Dybbuk, yeah.
Dybbuk? Am I saying it wrong?
I say Dybbuk, but
All right, I'll say Dybbuk. That's fine. I actually didn't look up how to pronounce that. It's a wine cabinet allegedly containing a Dybbuk,
yeah.
a malicious possession spirit in Jewish folklore. The story began in 2001 with Kevin Manis, an antique dealer from Portland, Oregon. He purchased an old wine cabinet at an estate sale. The seller informed him that the box had belonged to a Holocaust survivor named Havela, who had escaped to Spain and purchased the box there. According to family lore, Havela had sealed a Dybbuk.
Yeah, I haven't looked deep into this, but this is a very famous.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dybbuk inside.
I believe a Dybbuk is a Jewish thing where
Dybbuk.
a spirit.
Let's decide
Let's
how
say
I'm gonna
Dybbuk.
think.
I think it
Dybbuk.
is.
I'm sorry.
I think it like inhabits. It might even go back to Babylonian things. And if I'm just talking nonsense here, then forgive me. But I think it involves the possession of an object, usually like a little carved person. It's kind of like the spirit will communicate with somebody and tell them to make it a body or something, and so I think that's where the word comes from. In this case, it's a wine box for some reason. I don't know.
So after they captured this, the malicious spirit, using Kabbalistic knowledge, so her granddaughter, who was selling the box after Havela's death at age 103, refused to open it, saying it was a Dybbuk box that contained a spirit that her grandmother had trapped inside. Why she's keeping this box, I don't know.
I know.
Every time I hear about stuff like this, I'm like, why are you carrying it around?
I know.
Why? We could set it on fire.
It's like a pretty big box too, if I remember.
We could just set it on fire.
Yeah.
It's wood. It would burn as good or better than a doll would.
Maybe you'd be scared the thing would get it. I don't know. I wouldn't keep it, that's for sure.
You know what? That's a fair point. But also, why did your grandma trap something inside of it? It wasn't like that this thing had it already. She trapped something inside of it.
Terminology too. Like again, I could be wrong, but I believe it all goes back to like Jewish magic where you like give an entity that's talking to you like a body.
And it's the box?
I don't think it's typically a box. I think traditionally it was like a little card figurine or something. Or
Well, we're going to get into what's inside this box because
Okay.
somebody opens it.
Great.
So Manus opened the shop with the box inside and left to run an errand, leaving his assistant in charge. When he returned, he found his assistant in tears, saying she would never go into the basement again. She had heard someone smashing glass and cursing, but when she went to investigate, the basement was empty except for a strange odor and an overwhelming sense of dread. Which, back to the cave thing, that's what I felt.
Mhm.
It was like a weird dread feeling.
The odor freaks me out too.
There was a weird smell in the cave too. I'm gonna be honest with you. It's a cave, so like it
Yeah.
does have weird smells, but
that whole musty sulfur, dead
Mhm.
body type thing.
Mhm. That same day, Manus gave the box to his mother as a birthday present.
Talk about a regift.
The Seinfeld music made it for me. It really. So within minutes of receiving it, she suffered a stroke and could only repeat one phrase.
Within how long?
Minutes. He gave it to her,
It's
and
not funny, but it's pretty funny.
within minutes of like, "Happy birthday, Mom," stroke.
Oh my gosh.
And the only thing she could repeat after it is hate gift, hate gift.
Oh my god.
So I feel like there might have been some issues in that mother-son relationship.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I get it.
So after this incident, Manus took the box back and began experiencing nightmares of a hag-like woman beating him. He also reported light bulbs bursting near the box and strange smells of jasmine flowers and cat urine emanating from it.
Ew.
So all this happens. Manus decides, let's open the box.
Yeah, at this point.
Let's see what's going on in here. So he opens it. He finds strange items. 2 1920s pennies, a long blonde hair bound with a cord, a lock of black hair bound with a cord, and a small statue engraved with the Hebrew word shalom. Yep, you're right.
That's where I was. Okay, all right. All right. That's the Dybbuk. That's the Dybbuk.
That's the thing
spirit, yeah.
that's the thing that's in there.
And they thought they could keep it in a little box.
Finds a small golden wine cup, a dried rosebud, and a candle holder with octopus-like legs.
Ew, weird.
Yeah, all very weird things.
It's just like stuff I would have kept in like my top drawer as a kid, minus the Dybbuk.
It feels like a junk drawer.
Yeah.
So Manus eventually sold the box on eBay, where it passed through several owners, all of whom reported strange phenomenon. From sudden health problems to shadowy figures and inexplicable odors. One owner claimed that all the hair fell out of his head within a week of receiving the box.
This reminds me, I did an MK Usual episode once about a haunted chair. And it's just a chair in a bar in England. And like anyone who sits in this chair like dies, but it's always drunk dudes. So like they would just dare each other to sit in the hair, but then like the most insane things would happen to them like moments after sitting in the chair. So now it's like, why are you doing this? Like, get rid of it.
It's because it's a weird fascination.
Did they keep, out of curiosity, did they keep the statue? I would assume the statue's still in the box. Because my theory is that's the thing. It's not the box.
Yeah, it's still in there.
Okay.
So another reported that his sister fell into a mysterious coma shortly after he acquired it. The Vox eventually came into the possession of Jason Haxton, a medical museum director who conducted extensive research into its history and the concepts of this Jewish folklore. Haxton reported health problems after acquiring the box, including developing a strange skin condition, coughing up blood,
Oh man.
while experiencing nightmares. Haxton eventually consulted with rabbis who helped him reseal the box using ancient Jewish rituals. He then hid the box in a secret location, claiming that the phenomenon ceased after the resealing ritual. Which this guy finally got it right.
Yeah, he got rid of it.
Setting it on fire and everything inside of it.
Just hide it somewhere.
Like he buried it somewhere.
Yeah, take it out to a national park.
Somebody's going to find that in like 100 years and all this is going to start over again.
Yup.
So the box gained widespread attention after being featured on Sci-Fi's Paranormal Witness in 2012 and inspiring the horror film The Possession. While skeptics suggest the entire story may be an elaborate hoax, the consistent reports from multiple owners have made this one of the most famous allegedly haunted objects in recent history. While we should approach such claims with healthy skepticism, many spiritual traditions about bringing spiritually compromised objects into our homes, there's wisdom in being, they warn about that. So there's wisdom in being cautious about the spiritual history of items we bring into our personal spaces. So, what principles might guide our understanding of potential demonic activity and our response to it? One, acknowledge the possibility of spiritual warfare. Many spiritual traditions, including Christianity, recognize that there are unseen forces at work in our world. Ephesians 6:12 states, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms." Recognize divine authority over darkness. For those with faith, there is comfort in knowing that light overcomes darkness and that divine power is greater than any negative spiritual force. As Luke 10:19 records Jesus saying, "I have given you authority to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all power of the enemy. Nothing will harm you." We should also exercise discernment. Not everything unusual is actually supernatural, and not everything supernatural is actually demonic. Wisdom calls us to test everything and hold fast to what is good. It's 1 John 4:11, and advises, "Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirit to see whether they are from God." And I think that's like things like Annabelle. Like there's definitely ways you could have known something was off here.
Yeah.
Avoid occult practices. This is a pretty practical one that I think a lot of people are overlooking. Many spiritual traditions warn against things like divination, sorcery, and other occult practices that may open doors to negative spiritual influence. And we can look to like Deuteronomy 18:10-12, explicitly forbidding practices such as divination, sorcery, interpreting omens, witchcraft, casting spells, mediumship, spiritism, and necromancy. You should seek spiritual protection. Prayer, faith, and spiritual disciplines have long been considered shields against negative spiritual forces. Ephesians 6:13-18 details spiritual armor that includes truth, righteousness, peace, faith, salvation, the word of God, and prayer. Seek both spiritual and medical help when appropriate. There's wisdom in addressing both the spiritual and physical aspects of our well-being, as in James 5:14-15, encouraging prayer for healing, but this doesn't exclude medical treatment. And also, finally, remember Colossians 2:15 declares that Christ disarmed the powers and authorities. He made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. So, as we wrap this all up, our explanation of documented demonic experiences, we're left with the tension between skepticism and faith. The phenomenon reported by credible witnesses challenge our, understanding of reality. Yet, these accounts must be balanced against scientific explanation and the very real dangers of misdiagnosing treatable conditions as spiritual afflictions. We can navigate this tension with wisdom, acknowledging both spiritual and natural explanations for suffering. We can exercise discernment, neither dismissing all supernatural claims nor seeing demons behind every difficulty. Like it's both.
It's both. The best advice I ever heard from somebody was that if this stuff, like exorcism, if it freaks you out and you don't want to ever experience to be around it, the best thing you could do is just live a godly life.
Yeah.
You don't have to you don't have to delve into a grimoire and do little magic tricks to protect you. The best way to do it is just live a normal, disinterested, give money to poor people, go to church, pray. If you're just living a normal life, the odds of this stuff happening to you are,
I mean, I talked to my
close to zero.
so, and I don't know if we ever talked. My grandma, one of the most she knows the Bible inside and out.
Yeah.
Very well read, very well studied. Can address that verse by verse. But when you ask her about things like aliens, stuff like this, any of it, she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
There is some of it. There's demonic stuff.
I have a sick I've always been not attracted to this stuff, but I'm interested in it. I think it's
we're attracted to this stuff.
I think in some way, and I think part of it is I have a strong feeling this is going to play into the world in our lifetime, and you probably have to be a little more interested. But I still think your grandma's approach, if you're just a normal person and you you see a movie like Annabelle or you see a movie like The Exorcist.
Oh, she hasn't seen a movie since the 60s.
If that stuff freaks you out and is scared of it, just don't deal with it.
Just doesn't think about it.
Don't think about it. Don't give it attention. That's what old people always tell you about ghost stuff. They'll be like, "This old house is creaky." You know what I mean? If you just ignore this stuff and you live a good life, it's the odds of it elevating to this are close to zero.
Well, I mean, even in here, and I mean, I'm sure we're gonna do more episodes. I mean, we've done.
Don't do a podcast about it. But sorry, keep going.
I mean, we have not going to stop.
No, I know, but
we're not inviting.
Look, there are priests whose entire job is exorcism, but so they're around it more. If you mess with a Ouija board, you're going to be around it more. If you talk to a medium, you're going to be around it. If you're reading your horoscope, you're going to be around it.
Yeah, we're approaching it, I think, from the correct angle.
Yeah, but still, if we were our 100% certainty concern was do not want any of this to ever affect me. The best thing to do would just be to ignore it.
Oh, it's to not engage with at all.
Or
really acknowledge it. I mean, that's when I've talked. I mean, you talk to pastors or anybody. Talk to my grandma about it. If you think you're encountering a demon, you don't address that demon ever. You don't acknowledge it. You don't talk to it.
I've lived in houses where weird stuff happens, and my mom, being who she is, she's always like, "Oh, do you want me to call, my friend who's a psychic, or we can burn sage?" Or she'll try to one house in particular. I'd be like, if we're on the phone or we're in that house, don't bring it up. Nothing's hurt me. Just don't bring it up because I'm ignoring it, and I don't want to come in and start burning stuff and doing weird stuff.
Definitely don't burn sage. That doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So it's just I've always taken this whenever I felt like something got too close to me in real life, pray and everything, but just ignore it.
Oh, prayer is the way. When you hear about burn sage and do something no, that's actually
what that's doing.
That's actually playing into the realm that it's in of you're dabbling in something you're not supposed to. We're not supposed to actually fight those battles.
No.
That's not our role to fight that. And I've lived in places. I currently live in a place where I have cameras in here.
Yeah.
That go off to motion detection during the day. And I pull up those cameras, there's nothing there.
Right.
I've watched my dog look at things.
Yeah.
On the camera. And she's not the motion that got detected. I've pulled to a live feed. I'll be somewhere, it goes off as motion detection. It's not pointing at her. And I've spanned through and look, and she's looking at something.
We're swimming in realms that I just think
there's stuff happening around us all the time.
All the time. Anyway, that's my final thought.
Yeah, and I will leave it at this. As the Apostle John wrote, "You, dear children, are from God and have overcome them, because the one who is in you is greater than the one who is in the world." This reminder that divine power exceeds any darkness Any darkness offers comfort regardless of what unforeseen forces may exist, whether confronting potential demonic activity or simply navigating our daily spiritual challenges. This truth remains our anchor. Light overcomes darkness, and love is stronger than fear.
Amen.
That's where we'll leave it. Thank you all so much for listening. We appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, I love you, Dennis.
I love you.
Bye, buddy.
Bye. I disappear.